put grease oil all over your head. Another station has a salt water hose because that's where we got the water, and they'd spray you with salt water. Another station would be they'd paddle your butt and really paddle you hard. And then another station would be they make you do exercises on a sliding steel deck. It was dangerous. Some guys got injured pretty bad.
As terrible as the initiation sounded, Pete explained to me that there were actually a lot of really fun times that they had on the ship.
My dance band?
Yeah.
Well, when I was in the on-board ship, we had a guy named Freddie Crossland, and he used to arrange for Ray Noble of the big band era. That was way back. And he found out there was a bunch of musicians on board our ship, so he organized a dance band. And there was 3 trumpets, 1 trombone, that was me, 4 saxes, a guitar, and a piano player. That's what comprised the big band era many years ago. So we got formed. He done all the arranging. He rearranged all kinds of numbers because we didn't have music on board ship. So he done his own arranging. And we had a ball. We played for the men on board ship, maybe Saturday night or Sunday evening, because we all had the blues, you know, and so he had some pretty spirited dance numbers that he had written up, and
So just men danced?
just men.
Like there were no women to dance with?
Women, what was that? Back then? Are you kidding? It was 2 years before we ever saw a white woman. But anyhow, we used to, when we went to different islands, and for R&R, that's recreation and relief. So we'd go ashore and play for the officers, they used to get the nurses to dance with that were on hospital ships. And we had Australian nurses too. And they had all the fun, but we didn't.
Because you were playing.
Yeah, because we were playing. And then finally, we hadn't had any drinks for a long, long time. And they had rum and Coca-Cola stored down in the hold of the ship. That's way down. So they broke out rum and Coke a few times, and we asked the top dog there if we could have some rum and Coke. And he says, well, you can have Coke, but you can't have rum.
Aww.
But anyhow, somehow or other, Freddie, our band leader, he found some. We got some rum and Coke. But anyhow, we got back aboard ship, and I was feeling pretty good. And I struggled to get aboard ship. That was the first and only time I got stewed. So anyhow, I got back aboard and I went down my compartment, and our bunks were 4 high, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Holy cow.
So I had to climb up on the top bunk, and I got real sick. So I had a buddy named Bob Bush, or Arthur Bush from New Jersey. He and I were real good buddies, and I let go. And the next morning, I woke up. He cussed me out, you damn Greek. He says, you know what you did? I says, I don't remember a thing, Art. He says, you puked all over my bottom bunk. He says, I had to clean it up. I said, I'm awful sorry. I says, I don't even remember what I did. But he told me all about it.
And he still wanted to be your friend?
Yeah, he still be. He and I were real close because we had gone through radio school together up in Chicago. But that was part of my fun story, as I remember.
Obviously, being in the Navy wasn't constant fun and games. This particular combat story of Pete's stood out to me because it was amazing how someone sitting in front of me came so close to death and yet survived.
I was on the island of Lady, And we had a bunch of LST ships, landing ship tanks. And these LSTs, they carried the Marines. They were flat-bottom boats, and they were rough riding on the seas. And what happened was we had a bunch of LSTs that had lumber in them. And we had to build, the Seabees had to build camps around there as we invaded. Well, that night, there wasn't enough people on shore yet to evacuate the lumber from the LSTs. And we had to, they called all the ships that were in the harbor to send help to unload the LSTs, and I was one of them, even though I was radioman. So that night, when I got ashore, all I had was my 45. We started unloading lumber, and the Japs decided to retaliate. They weren't far enough, our troops weren't far enough inland in order to completely annihilate them, so they had launched a counterattack. When they launched that counterattack, mortars started coming at us, and it scared the pants off of us because all we had was just our 45s, and you can't fight with a 45. So we snuck underneath the LSTs that were beached, and we closed the hatch doors so that they couldn't attack us. But they started coming at us, so we hightailed it into the LSTs because they have front drop doors to unload troops and mechanized equipment. So they dropped the doors. Then when we all got back in, what few of us there were, they raised the drop doors. Then we counterattacked the Japs from the top part of our LSTs. And some more Marines came in finally, and we outmanned them, we outgunned them. And I was right there in the middle of it. And I saw our Marines getting shot, and I saw Japs getting shot, so it happened.
I couldn't comprehend what it must have been like for someone my age to be in such danger, so I asked Pete what it was like to be in a constant state of emergency like that.
I said before, Marie, at 18, 19, 20, you don't realize how dangerous it is. Your mind isn't there. It's just like with 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old kids going up and down the street in their cars and disobeying the road rules. They don't care. And then if you go too slow, they give you the finger. And I've gotten the finger many times because I drive slow.
Well, they're reckless.
Yeah, they're very reckless.